But we will jump into the football now. Division 1 had its round 3 over the weekend. We'll start with what I think is the most significant victory of the weekend. That was Galway grinding out the win against Tyrone in Healy Park. They were without Shane Walsh. They were without Damien Comer. They didn't have Sean Kelly starting either. The goal from Cathal Sweeney proved the difference. These two sides are looking over their shoulder at relegation. So for Galway to go away to Tyrone and beat them is massive.
Yeah, no, this is a really good win for Galway, and I suppose obviously Tyrone, unfortunately, minus the services of Fergal Logan at the minute. Obviously, Fergal had a health scare there a couple of weeks ago, and he's probably going to be probably along the sideline potentially for the rest of the year. So I suppose off the field, Tyrone, it's quite hard for them at the minute. But it was a great win for Galway. They'll be delighted. They badly needed the 2 points. Like that game today, a lot of people, like I was talking to a lot of people in pre-match, and they really couldn't call it. It was always going to be a tight encounter, and I think Galway will be delighted to take the 2 points. Tyrone, probably a bit of cause for concern there for Tyrone at the minute, because obviously we have seen like a good few men in the last couple of years step away from the Tyrone cause. Like I think Ronan McNamee, I think he'll be a huge loss to the Tyrone setup this year, and obviously going forward, obviously we see Niall Sludden step away from the panel as well. So look, them two lads have a lot of experience, and when experience leaves the dressing room, it creates gaps and holes, I suppose. So I don't know. I just think the future going forward for Tyrone, I would be quite, if you're a Tyrone supporter, you probably would be quite concerned this year going forward, because it just seems that, I don't know, like Brian Dewar and Fair, like a county management, like it's cut and trust. It'll eat you and swallow you out. Like it's a tough station when you aren't getting results. So Tyrone season going forward, I would be quite concerned. But Galway will be happy, as you say, minus the service of Shane Walsh. Obviously Shane Walsh, the main marksman at the minute. Galway will be delighted with it. It's a good show of character getting that result today. Portjoyce will be absolutely thrilled. But then I suppose, when you're looking at it, are these two teams going to be threatening in All Ireland this year? I'm just not really sure. I just think Tyrone looked like, and I see people talk about transition, but Galway, again, they'll be delighted with 2 points.
Yeah, no question about it. It's a massive victory for Galway. Like, you think about the fact that they failed to beat Roscommon at home. They, look completely outclassed against Mayo. Like, to get a victory on the board just reinstalls that morale, because they have a massive group of fixtures coming up. They still have to face Dublin. They still have to face Kerry. They still have to face Derry, and they still have to face Monaghan. None of those games are going to be easy, because we all know that Monaghan get so much better towards the end of the league campaign. Monaghan will do their routine of picking up points towards the end of the league. Galway don't want to be one of the victims of that. So winning this game is massive for staying up. And with Roscommon losing to Dublin, like, Galway will feel like, okay, they've got a leg up on Roscommon in terms of staying up in Division 1 maybe instead of them. So it's a massive significant victory for Galway. Like, because without Walsh, without Comer, to go away to Healy Park and to win will do them the world of good confidence-wise. And I mentioned about the Roscommon defeat. Roscommon lost to Dublin 119-112 at Croke Park. This game, Dublin got a lot of good praise from it. A lot of people were, impressed with Dublin's attack. Con O'Callaghan looked sharp. Kieran Kilkenny looked sharp. The goal from Niall Scully coming in off the bench. Dublin's attack was moving a bit more fluid. Roscommon got the goal down the other end, fairly easy, and Dara Craig was causing problems for Dublin throughout. But in the end, Dublin were the better team and finally opened their account for league in 2024.
Yeah, I think Dublin will be delighted with that win last night, and it gets their season underway, if you like. They will be very happy, and I suppose from the Roscommon end of things, and my God, I think it was Davy Burke done an interview after the game, and I think was it 65 or 67 training sessions that they've completed this year, and I don't know, like it's mad, like it's mad comments to be making, and I suppose the professionalism and the way the kind of game's gone at the minute. But I think he said these players need to be on the training pitches tomorrow. So I don't know, is that a case of lads potentially missing training sessions? Is that lads maybe not fully committing. It's hard to kind of know, but 60 odd training sessions and Rowley in February, that definitely is kind of worrying worrying sounds coming from Davy Burke, and maybe other counties are like that as well, or maybe some counties are back since the end of October, November. Maybe that's where we're at, but God, it just goes to show the way the game is at the minute, the professionalism and everything goes into it. It's mad stuff. But Davy won't be happy with that result last night. And Roscommon obviously played well enough, but Conor Callan, what a fantastic performance he had last night. He was brilliant. I know a few eyebrows were raised when he was named in midfield, but my God, he had a fantastic game yesterday. Brian Fenton was fairly impressive as well. So Dublin, I think it was a win that they probably didn't need. I keep saying Tyrone Prendergast, much like yourself, Seamus, there's no panic stations from the Dublin end of things. I keep saying it. Dublin don't lose any sleep over the Leinster Championship or the National League. I think they lose the bit of sleep over if they're going to win Sam Maguire this year, and that's really all they care about. Let's not beat around the bush. So I think if Dublin get their 2 more wins, consolidate themselves in Division 1, I think they'll be genuinely happy enough. But yeah, a routine victory yesterday. I know a few people are kind of hinting potentially at a Roscommon victory, but I think Dublin, I think they probably were always going to win that last night. I think Roscommon potentially will go down. Roscommon's quite like Cavan in that kind of sense, kind of not just at that standard of Division 1 football just yet. I think they've been found wanting in a lot of games. They were poor last night again. I know Croke Park's a tough place to go up to, but Davy Burke, my God, he's an intense man. He's an intense character. I would not like to be a Roscommon player this week, because I'd say the running and the chats and the player analysis that's going to be happening this week, it'll not be pretty if you're a Roscommon footballer this week. But my God, Davy Burke, I don't know, did you see that 60 odd training sessions comment last night, Seamus? But that frightened the hell out of me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, definitely, because you think like, what? You see players like Kieran Murtha step away, and basically the reason he was saying was like it's too much effort, it's too much commitment to give and everything like that. And the fact that like Desi Farrell, for example, after the Mayo game, pretty much openly came out and said that they're behind the curve on other teams in the training that they've done. Like he pretty much blasé. He said like, we're a bit behind other teams right now. Imagine being in the Roscommon camp and you've done all those training sessions and you lose to a team that I know they're the All-Ireland champions, but haven't done anywhere near 67 training sessions by February. Like it would be disheartening. And statistics like that being thrown out, it's just bizarre. That is a pro contract level.
It's bizarre. It is bizarre, but like it kind of refers. Sorry to put in Seamus, but it kind of refers back to this point, and I mentioned this about. Was it Micheál Burns leaving the Kerry panel there last week? Like it kind of refers to this comment of player burnout and players losing interest. And as you rightly said about Kieran Murtha coming out and saying maybe that it is too time consuming, it is too much of a strain. Like it really is lifestyle choice, and you probably do need to park a lot of stuff like family events, your weddings, your nights out with mates. It really does all stop until July, really, when June, July, if your county's looking to get as far as July. So it's such a time commitment. Obviously we hear about the figures the managers are getting paid these days, and what's that saying, more training sessions, more moolah. But look, I'd say Davy Burke, I'd say there probably is a lot of pressure from the backers, maybe of Roscommon, and he needs to start getting results. But I can just see Roscommon going down this year. I just don't know where they're going to get points from in the next couple of games. Last night potentially was an opportunity against the kind of up and down sort of Dublin team, the form they're showing at the minute, but it just didn't happen last night. So if I was to make a prediction on it, I'd say Roscommon probably will go down, and it just kind of, you could probably group a lot of teams that's in that sort, like when Meath maybe on their day they could get up to Roscommon standards, obviously Cav and the Loud. So I think Roscommon probably will be better placed in Division 2 than Division 1, it just seems. And obviously, they're down Mark McHugh, Mark McHugh. Obviously Mark was there last year. Mark's obviously gone up to Mike Cullen to coach them this year, but sir, obviously losing Mark after last year, and obviously Mark done sterling work with them last year. So yeah, definitely not easy on the Rossies. Definitely not easy on them. See Conor Cox. There is still a lot of quality there, but I just think they will go down, Seamus, and that is being brutally honest.
Yeah, no, I agree. I predicted them to finish 7th. I just feel like, especially now, they're not going to beat Derry. They're not going to beat Kerry, in my opinion. Don't really see them beating Mayo, because Mayo will take the league super seriously. And I don't really see them beating Monaghan, because Monaghan will do their trick again of pulling the wool over our eyes and then surviving relegation. So I would be surprised if Roscommon win a game for the rest of the league. I don't see one that I think, when they lost the one to Tyrone, I was like,
but like,
I don't know.
Like it kind of is the age-old thing, and I've been blue in the face, and I've probably been one of Roscommon's advocates for the talent that they have. But like, I just think when you've the likes of Donny Smith, Enda Smith, Conor Crooks, I know Kieran Murder stepped away, but when he was playing, you've Jeremy Murta. You've so much talent there. So, and don't get me wrong, Davy Burke, he is a fantastic coach, and we see his enthusiasm towards the game and his drive and passion for the game. And maybe results probably aren't really making sense at the minute for them. But I think for the talent that Roscommon have always had, it probably doesn't really make sense about how maybe they have underachieved to a degree. But as you've rightly said there, them last couple of games, maybe Monaghan game might be tight, but they'll not beat Kerry. They'll not beat Mayo. I wouldn't say, as you say, Mayo take this league very seriously, of course, as they do. And no one's really beaten Derry at the minute. So, no, if I was a Roscommon follower, and I probably would be looking down at the barrel of relegation, really. Like, it's unfortunate, but Division 1 is so cutthroat. And if you don't get a win early in your first two games, it's just, you're banjacks, you know.
Well, that's it. And the thing is with Roscommon is that for the last 5, 6, 7 years, they've been consistently, I would say, if you're to put the country into like a power rankings, Roscommon have constantly been between like number 6 and number 12. They've always been teetering on that point of being just maybe a bit too good for Division 2, but also maybe not quite there to consistently put together Division 1 campaigns back to back to back to back. Yeah, I agree with you about the talent they have, like Ben O'Carroll, like these guys, Enda Smith.
Yeah.
And like Enda Smith and Ben O'Carroll are two as good two footballers as you have anywhere in the country. Brian Stack, I genuinely think, is the best fullback in the country. I think Brian Stack is unbelievable. Personally, like I watched him play against Glen when he moved out the field. He was awesome in that game. Then I watched him pick up Con in the game there. Great job on him. I watched him pick up Shane McGuigan. Did a great job on him. Like he's up there. He's up there at least with Christian McKay, Jason Foley, Sean Kelly. Like he's up there. And in terms of a natural fullback, I think he has it all. No question about it. And one team that seemed to have it all right now is Derry. You mentioned nobody looks to be able to stop Derry. 317 to 13 points. They absolutely blitzed Monaghan in this game at Celtic Park. Yeah. Like a Monaghan side that can prove tricky for anyone, but they didn't prove tricky for Derry in this one.
Look, Derry are just scintillating really at the minute now. I have to say they're blowing teams out of the water, and if you're a Derry supporter, you have to be really positive about things at the minute. They're in just an unbelievable form, and it just looks like a train that's not going to be stopping anytime soon. And Mickey Hart, my God, he has to be delighted with the start that he's had. Like he's basically had the perfect start with Derry. He won the McKenna Cup, won all his league games, so he's a born winner. Mickey will want to win every game all year. He'll have dies and big prize this year as well. But look, that's just against a fairly good Monaghan team that's doing okay at the minute. To put up that score is just remarkable. And obviously with Shane McGuigan's in the form of his life once again. And I think someone tweeted it there today. Like we talk so much about David Clifford, we talk so much about the Con O'Callaghan's of this world, but it's time we really start giving this McGuigan man more credit than he deserves. He's a remarkable footballer. He's shooting lights out for Derry this year, and he could really be probably is going to be the key asset to Derry winning an All-Ireland this year, and they've made no bones about it. So yeah, Monaghan probably will be disappointed. Don't get me wrong, I know Derry are flying at the minute, but Monaghan after the Kerry game last 2 weekends ago would have been very disappointed in the manner they got defeated. And it was a big, Kerry fairly blitzed them as well, really. So it's probably really a toss-up between Roscommon and Monaghan to probably go down to Division 2 potentially, because for Monaghan, I don't know, like it's kind of hard to they are probably a good league team, and then coming into Championship they'll hope to get to the latter ends of the All-Irelands as well. But this Derry team are they really have kind of picked up from where they left off from last year. And I suppose Mickey Hart probably has got a bit of criticism for maybe starting the strongest teams, but he smells blood this year. He smells an All-Ireland. He wants to be walking up the steps in July, and he does not give a toss. He will start his strongest teams, and he'll make no bones about it. Conor Glass, they're in remarkable form at the minute. Is it potentially going to be a case of peaking too soon, have an unbelievable form at the minute, and then come your All-Ireland semi-final? There might be a blip along the way, who knows? But yeah, if you're a Derry follower at the minute, you have to be very happy.
No, absolutely. Like I completely agree with what you said. Derry look like unstoppable in the league. Like they've beaten Kerry, like they've beaten Monaghan out the gate. In this game, they beat Tyrone fairly handy in the week previous as well. And they just seem to be on top of the world. Waddy Graham's Glen winning the All-Ireland Club Championship, Derry winning the McKenna Cup. And then the comment in here we have from Meesman about Shane McGuigan. He said, Shane McGuigan, arguably most underrated footballer at the moment. Not Clifford level, but definitely as good as a Shane Walsh or a Con O'Callaghan. I would agree with that. Like, you see there, and like those guys are amazing footballers, and that doesn't take away from them. But McGuigan literally every game, relentless. Yeah, but like 7 points, 8 points.
I know like that is probably a fair comment from Meadman there, but maybe not as good as Clifford. But if we can't sleep on what this man is doing at the minute. We're talking 10, 11 points a game, not as good as Clifford. I don't know David Clifford. 11 points yesterday, and like against a very, very, very good, like a good Monaghan outfit. So maybe he is potentially getting as good as Clifford. Like Clifford is doing remarkable things every day it goes out, but like why not? He could be as close to Clifford what the man is doing. You're talking Shane Walsh relatively quiet at the minute, but he will kind of come championship, he'll be fine. Conor Callan, but Shane McGuigan, he is absolutely fine at the minute. Probably is very underrated, and I think it's probably down to probably me and you and the media and everyone probably not giving him the credit, because realistically, Seamus, we always talk about David Clifford. Clifford scored 5 points yesterday. I know you have the caption for this video, Clifford wins with Kerry, and of course he did, but that probably feeds into the narrative we're talking about. We're not just talking about Shane McGuigan as much, and I don't know, is it just because Clifford brings such a persona about him, and maybe McGuigan goes about his business a bit more quieter, but it's hard to know. But yeah, Shane is flying at the minute.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And like, it's a great point that you make. Like, look, David Clifford, the way that he plays the game and the scores that he gets, it inspires poetry. Like, it genuinely does. The way that he fires the ball so high into the clouds over the bar. His winner against Mayo, which we'll get onto, was such a beautiful point. And the way he got it right at the end of the game. And some of his goals, the way he dances through the defense, is genuinely mesmerizing. Shane McGuigan, on the other hand, he's like so consistent. Every free he gets over the bar, every chance he gets from the D over the bar. He doesn't do as flashy, scores as David Clifford does. He doesn't do as high into the clouds with his points as David Clifford does, or go on those mesmerizing solo runs that David Clifford goes on. But his output is just relentless.
Unreal.
Like we were saying, 11 points there. And I think when it's all said and done, when McGuigan retires, I think he'll probably be Derry's top scorer of all time. And then, like, he'll be in the record books as one of the highest scorers in the GAA's history. Like, someone like a Dean Rock, for example, that is just relentless. And I think he's probably better than Rock. But like someone that's just relentless with every game, 4 points, 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, 10 points, 11 points. That's what McGuigan's hitting. He hit 11 points in this game. The fella's a machine.
Yeah.
A key component in this Derry team. Make no mistake about it. If Derry win the All-Ireland this year, McGuigan will have had a massive hand in that. Along with Glass, along with Benny Rogers, along with Garrett McKinless, Chrissy McCaig. But McGuigan's their finisher. And I think if you take him out of that Derry team, I think they're not putting up anywhere near the same scores.
That's a key, and that's a very good point as well, Seamus. Because it's kind of like anything else in life. If you take an important thing out of something, like something usually bad happens. So I think that's a huge point about Kerry as well. I know Sean O'Shea is moving very well in full forward, but I think, and you've seen, if you were watching the Kerry game last night, you seen when David Clifford went down. I'm not even a Kerry supporter. I was like, whoa, like, is he injured or what's happening? So it really does go to show, if David Clifford was to get injured, and I think was it him Fitzmaris's commentary last night, he said like 10,000 Kerry fans probably nearly had heart attacks. It does go to show, if David Clifford was to get injured, or if Shane McGuigan was to get injured, or if Shane Walsh was to get injured, I think their three counties would really struggle. Whereas with Dublin, you have your Paul Mannions, you have your Con O'Callaghan's, you have your Paddy Smalls, you have Cormac Costello, so you have still very good forwards that can win you the All Irelands, and you get you up the steps of Croke Park in July. Whereas them counties, if they were to miss out on them men, or if them men were to get injured, they'd be in big bother, and that's another one of Dublin's million strengths, Seamus. I'm not jealous.
But you're absolutely right. Depth is the name of the game. Depth is the key.
Yeah.
Because if you look, what team I would back to win the All Ireland, if you look across the board at under 20 successful teams, and if you have, for example, like Galway under 20s versus Dublin under 20s, Galway won that All Ireland final at under 20 level a couple of years ago. Tom O'Callaghan scored 1-6 out of their total. Galway only had 3 scorers or 4 scorers on the day. Dublin had like 8 scorers, 9 scorers. And I'm not saying that, for example, that makes that Dublin team better. It didn't. Galway beat them. But I'm saying for future, that meant that Dublin have plucked out of that team Lee Gannon, Lorcan O'Dell. Like, that all came from that under 20 side. Galway, Tom O'Callaghan was their main man. He hasn't got into the senior side yet. Jack Glynn, he came in. He was brilliant. But my point is that if you are so reliant on one player, that player gets injured, what happens next? And we saw it in the All-Ireland final last year when David Clifford wasn't hitting the mark. Kerry didn't really know who to go to. They're so desperate to get the ball into his hand that then when he's shooting the ball wide, it's like, what do we do? Whereas Dublin, it's built on built on getting, and Derry are good at that, which is why I think they'd probably be better at coping with McGuigan being gone than I think Kerry would be at coping with Clifford being gone. I think Derry and Dublin are built on, let's get the right man into the right position.
Yeah.
Whoever's in the right position is the right man, and we want them to take the shot. Hence why Derry's goals came from Conor McCluskey, Pádraig McGrogan, and Conor Doherty, 3 defenders.
Yeah.
So I just
but
think
this
that
what I'm kind of saying
built on systems.
100%, and that is a very good point you make in terms of, like, if Clifford's radar is not on, which it wasn't in the All-Ireland final last year, and obviously Kerry just didn't win the All-Ireland last year, probably due to it, basically, it does go to show, like, and it does, last night is a key point. Like, obviously when Mr. Clifford did go down, or say if Shane McGuigan pulls a hamstring in the next game, or there's Shane Walsh goes down or something, or even Damien Comer to that effect as well, that's when the shit probably will hit the fan. So that's where Dublin strength and depth, players that can win you All Irelands, and good out and out forwards, that's Dublin's advantage. Whereas these teams, if anything happens, your McGuigans, your Clifford, and don't get me wrong, Sean O'Shea, as I said, is doing very well aside. Paul Geaney doesn't seem to be just in and around the Kerry team at the minute. Maybe a bit of a delayed kind of comeback, but Geaney probably will need to get more out of himself as well from the Kerry end of things. But yeah, it's definitely food for thought for counties kind of going forward. If any of them lads were to get injured, it really would be Dublin Sam again, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, well, I definitely would put them into the favourites position. Right now, I think it's between Kerry, Mayo. No. Kerry, Derry, and Dublin. I think it's between those 3. Mayo and Galway, if they can get their shit together, maybe. Like, Mayo kind of look like they're getting their shit, but with Mayo, it's like boy who cried wolf at this stage. It's like, you've looked good so many times. You looked great last year. You looked absolutely fantastic last year, beating Kerry away in Austin Stack Park. Dominating them the way that you did. And you got to the quarterfinal against Dublin, you did nothing. And it really, like, it's just like, I'll believe it when I see it in a quarterfinal or a semi-final. When you take out a Kerry, when you take out a Dublin, or you take out a Derry, then I'll be on the hype train again. Because we haven't seen them beat anyone in the championship that's made me sit up and take notice since they knock out anyone. Kerry made me sit up and take notice last year, but they haven't knocked out anyone that's made me go, wow, since they beat Dublin in 2021. 2022, they got held at arm's length by Kerry in the quarterfinal. Last year, they got held at arm's length by Dublin in the quarterfinal as well. So step up this year, and they were beaten, but they did play well. But as the title said, Clifford did win it for Kerry. 16-15, David Clifford's score, absolutely majestic. Like, you can't deny that. And then pointing at the watch immediately, that has to be that. It was that David Clifford won it for Kerry. It's their second win in a row in the league.
Clifford time.
First defeat. Clifford time, exactly. And I mean, a brilliant win for Kerry. And it was a great
Clifford
game.
time, yeah.
Really, really enjoyable game.
You know, it was a great game, and I suppose obviously, yeah, the mad thing about this was I was obviously watching this game, and a clubmate of mine sends me a Snapchat, and I think this was towards the end. I think I was a bit behind him. My RT was a tad bit behind him, and I just got the Snapchat from him, and he sends me the video of Clifford kicking the point. And once the Snapchat came through, I think I was a bit behind it. I think the ball was just getting over the Clifford, and I got the Snapchat, and lo and behold, it was obviously the Snapchat of Clifford kicking the winning point against Mayo. So it just goes to show, it's kind of like as soon as night turns to day, what Clifford's going to do. He's a remarkable talent, and I keep saying it. It's a sign of a great player. 4 points up until that. We always expect Clifford to kick your 8 or 9 points, but to kick the winner, last kick of the game, to have it in his legs, it was just a remarkable point. But I felt so sorry for the Mayo full back that was on him. Maybe a bit more help, maybe a bit more cover for him, because obviously David Clifford, when he has ball in hand in that particular area, there's very little that's going to stop him. So double mark potentially, but look, at Mayo will have to look at that this week. But not a bad game. I don't know, like it was a funny sort of game because both teams definitely could have won it. You know, Mayo really pressed hard at the end. Ryan O'Donoghue kicked some good scores. We've seen Keelan O'Connor kind of coming on at the end. It'll be very interesting to see what O'Connor's role is going to be with this Mayo team now. Is he fully fit yet? We don't know. Aidan O'Shea, I thought, was quite poor. Didn't really get into the game. I thought we were going to see a lot more from him. Paddy Clifford had quite a good game now. I was impressed with him. It was a Darren Moynihan was pretty good as well. Probably a stupid enough yellow card near the end. I'm not sure what he was trying to do with that tackle, but again, yeah, it always just probably boils down to David Clifford in these games. It was a great score at the end, but I don't know, Seamus, it was probably maybe the standards maybe I or other supporters or media people might kind of hold to these two teams, but I thought it was like, it was a high scoring game, but I kind of said it to the person I was watching it with. Like, it was nearly like one of the more, I don't know, maybe it was overthinking about the football, but maybe a bit of a boring was it 16-15 in the end? Maybe it was one of a high scoring boring game. If that makes any sense. It was kind of, the points were happening, there was a bit of action, but it was kind of, I don't know, we're maybe both teams, right? We might be seeing you know, later in the year, so we're not kind of show our full deck or not kind of full tactics. Bit of shadow boxing, and probably maybe
it was like an entertaining decision in a UFC fight or something. Like
Like
they went for the kill.
No, not really. And both teams definitely could have won the game, and obviously David Clifford took the initiative at the end. Of course he does, but yeah, I think both teams probably holding back a bit. But I just think, I don't know what you think, Keelan O'Connor's impact on the Mayo team this year, like. This crack of bringing him on like the last 10 or 15 minutes of games, like, is he fully fit at the minute? Is that the plan going forward?
He slipped into an awful weird position, hasn't he? He's in an awful weird position. He's like, in 2020, he was their guy. Like, he was their main man. He gets injured for 2021. And ever since then, he's been like, let's throw him on for the last 10 minutes. And it's like, is he good enough to play anymore? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, like, and I don't know, like, and obviously we don't hear anything from county setups, and it's trying to crack the Da Vinci Code about what's going on in county setups at the best of times. But look, at Kevin McStay, he's a shrewd operator. I think if you're not performing in training, or if you're not kind of pulling your weight, and you probably won't get game time. So it's very hard to know what's really going on for Keelan O'Connor at the minute. Is that his ceiling at the minute? Is it the 10 or 15 minutes at the end of games? I thought, and you thought, everyone probably thinks he probably has a lot more to offer, but no, if that's what Kevin McStay wants to do, that's what Kevin McStay wants to do. But I don't know. I just thinking, look, I'll be honest, I probably haven't been, Aidan O'Shea's probably biggest fan over the years. I've just really at times struggled to find what he kind of brings to the Mayo setup at times. And a lot of people probably think, he had so much, but I just think yesterday he looked like he was kind of found wanting. And I think the quicker the game is and the way the game is at the minute and the speed and ferocity and intensity of the game, sometimes I think it kind of passes Aidan O'Shea by a bit, whereas you kind of want to see him having so much more of an influence because he's such a big man. He's obviously been such a leader for the Mayo cause. But Kevin McStay probably will be disappointed with last night because he probably wants to get as much points as possible. But I heard him saying in the off-the-ball interview with Tom Murin after the game that what he literally says, 1 or 2 more wins, we'll be safe. So he just wants to consolidate himself for Division 1. But I don't know. It was, of course, it was a high-scoring game, but it just felt like a bit of a drab affair. Or I don't know. Maybe I'm being too much of a cynic. I'm not sure.
No, I had that in the Dublin Roscommon game as well. Like,
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, like it was like we were getting a lot of scores, but the element of jeopardy is just not there. Like it's hand pass, get it to a guy in a percentage position, and he's going to shoot. And I'm just like, it's
Overcoaching,
so
probably.
predictable. It's so
Overcoaching.
predictable. Yeah,
Overcoaching, yeah, and it kind of working scores and not kicking, like I suppose, it kind of working the ball over and back, and I suppose it's just like my God, if he hits that ball wide, like you're going to be subbed off here, and this is probably the game at the minute, Matthew, or sorry, yeah, Seamus, and this is the way it is. Like it's kind of like coaches are like I could see Davy Burke being a real. Like if you're not if you're maybe not if you're falling a bit behind the train, and he's probably on your case, the likes of Jack O'Connor, I suppose obviously, like, let's not beat around the bush. These managers, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of money coming in. So it's coming down to probably coaches, Seamus, and players not taking chances. And I always say it, and geez, I'll say this till the cows come home. Jeremy Connolly, realistically, and I think he said it in that GAA roundtable with Sean Cavan and Lee Keegan at Christmas, he probably was the last person or last player to take a chance. And obviously from Dublin, I think you would have been delighted with that over the years because he always expressed himself. But like it just seems, it's just like overcoaching and stick to the plan. And my God, if some lad kicks the point from outside of his foot, and I know David Clifford probably is our last Jeremy Connolly-esque player we have in the game at the minute, but yeah, it definitely leads to kind of drab affairs and kind of boring games and boring spectacles. But it's just the way the game is at the minute. It's hard to put your finger on it.
But that's it. Like, and Connolly said it best in that round table. And it's funny because I genuinely thought of the example that you thought of as well. Connolly said in that round table, he said, because I was coached to attack. I wasn't coached to defend. I was coached to have a go. I was coached to go for it. And that's absolute credit to the St. Vincent's coaches and to the Dublin coaches that he had that told him, express yourself, go for it, have a go. And the best night we ever seen from Dermot Connolly was 2011 against Tyrone in the All-Ireland quarter-final. He had 7 points in play against Tyrone.
Christ,
he was unbelievable. And Pat Gilroy was his manager, and that was a Vincent's clubmate of his who definitely got the best out of him.
Yeah.
You're right. There's so many examples. Like Colin Parkinson pulled up a tweet, said that Jack Carney, for example, caught a kick out against Dublin. 9 Dublin players were taken out of the play. He turns around and kicks it backwards. Like, it's safety. Don't make a mistake. The reason that David Clifford, you know what we're saying, everyone
safety. Yeah.
The thing that I didn't say when I said why I think everybody waxes miracles about Clifford, which, to be honest, has just struck me now. He goes for it. Why has Shane Walsh become a superstar as well? Because they get the ball, they attack, they go for it.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of our forwards
but just direct,
backwards, wait until they're in the
position. It's just direct football. It's yeah.
And that goes back to what Pat Spillane said. Like, what type of game do you want?
Yeah.
Like, do we want a percentage-based game? Not really. For me, like, sure, it's all right to watch, but it doesn't give me the same thrills.
It's all this. It's all this. Like I keep saying it. Like it's all these coaches along the sideline and getting these big bloody paychecks coming up, and all these kind of like lads talking into earpieces and this, that, and the other. Like it's the game really. Like I know a lot of people saying, "Oh, the game's gone when it comes to soccer," but the GAA is probably going down that path of these lads just speaking into microphones and throwing in tactics, and it's kind of gone. It is gone very, very professional, and probably something we really kind of need to kind of get on board with, and probably take that bit of time with the GAA. And it's probably kind of has gone out the window to a degree, but players just aren't willing to take risks anymore. Your Shane Walsh's, your David Clifford. I probably said it there a couple of months ago. Thanks be to God we have the likes of Shane Walsh and David Clifford at the minute, because realistically, if we didn't have them pair of books playing our game at the minute, and Shane McGuigan, you could probably throw him into that category as well, it'd be a very, very boring game to watch, Seamus. And would we be fought like? Would we? Like, it would be very boring because it's so systematic at the minute, and it's just like as Connolly said on the round table, he was coached to do that. Play football, kick the ball forward, get it into your full forwards, get it to your half forwards, get your goalie striking the ball and getting it up the field. And another big problem I have with the GAA, and you probably want to roll on with the games. Sorry, Seamus. And another problem I have with the game at the minute is the goalies coming out. We've seen it, like, and I know obviously it's a new thing to be doing, and like, every county team seems to be doing it, but loads of goalies are going to be caught out by doing that at the minute, and it's been seen. Like, I think it was a Shane Ryan, the Fermanagh goalkeeper, was caught out against Donegal yesterday. He was chipped over. Said goalies probably need to rein it in as well, because look, they're coming out too far, and then teams are being caught in the counter attack, and then the goalie looks like a gobshite, really. So that's something that county managers probably will need to get sorted, because I just think it's costing them big time, and it just seems to be, oh sure, like, look at Monaghan's doing it, Donegal's doing it, Dublin's doing it, sure, why aren't we doing it? Bring the keeper out. But I think that's going to have a bit of a damaging effect, and if it happens, like say, like an All-Ireland final, when a keeper's running back, a goal goes in, then what happens, Mr. Brady?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that is true. And like, one of the greatest points that was made was Conan Doherty. Conan Doherty's a journalist in the GAA, or media personality. He is fantastic. I genuinely watch all his stuff. He's from Derry. He's brilliant. He pointed out on one of his reels that was on Twitter that I watched, he said, bringing the goalkeeper out means that there's always a man extra. So that's why we end up with this hand pass, because there's always a free man to the right or to the left. So if you push out, he can just give it to the right. So that's why teams sit in. And it just means that but
they're coming out though.
You pay your money in to see a Diarmuid Connolly, a Kieran MacDonald, a David Clifford, Shane Walsh, an Amy Mackin, a Louise Verhertig. Footballers that have a go, footballers that pick up the ball and think, how can I score here? Not a footballer.
But these goalies are coming out though.
Let me hand pass it backwards. And
but these goalies are coming
out.
Other
sports like basketball implemented the shot clock and everything like this.
Which I think a shot clock would be great for our game.
Direction. Yeah,
a shot clock would be great.
The direction in a certain game. GAA is just like, let's just leave it up to these guys,
players
who can take the game whatever way they want to, and it's ended up with hand pass, shot from a percentage area, and it works for results. But what I'm saying is, I don't think it works for entertainment. Average game.
No. A shot clock would be fantastic, and like if a buzzer went off, you have about 20 or 30 seconds just to release the bloody ball and kick it inside. Was it Tomato Shea said in the Sunday game? Was it Des says to him, like, what was them tactics about today? It's called football, Des, because Kerry just kicked the ball, and they're very direct with it. The Gooches, the James O'Donoghues, the David Cliffords, they're just direct with the ball. And like, back to my goalkeeper point, a lot of these goalies are coming out and they're standing on the 45-yard line, and they're not even contributing sometimes. And what do they have to do? They have to run back to the goal. So I just think this crack of goalies coming out, and this apps, like, I don't really know what the future of it is. And a perfect example of it is yesterday, as I said previously, the Fermanagh keeper was caught wanting, and the Donegal player, was it O'Boyle, just kicks the ball over him, and Donegal get a goal, and the game completely swings. So unless keepers are genuinely adding something to the game by coming out the field, just stop it, because I just think it looks like absolute madness, and they're being caught out more than not.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. Final point on the Kerry Mayo game. We have a comment in here from Jack. Jack says Paddy Clifford is good to watch as well. Very true. If Kerry used Sean O'Shea,
of course
more, he is some kicker. Absolutely. Like, Sean O'Shea is one of the main guys. If I had a free kick to save my life, I think Sean O'Shea would be one of the first ones I'd be putting on it to save my life. He's a brilliant free taker.